and Janae, do you mind standing up? This is our Chief Juvenile Officer, Janae Barker, and she is interim in our program. She, or a staff member, will review those referrals along with an attorney for the juvenile office. The attorney that reviews them is not present, but we do have a board member and is an attorney for the juvenile officer, Tiffany Schutte. And so, yes, there's a round of applause for her as well. So they review the referral for legal sufficiency, and they also do a needs and risk assessment to make sure it is an appropriate youth and family dynamics for that youth to go through the youth court program. They make contact with the parent of that youth to see if they will voluntarily participate. It is not a forced program, it's not required. If a parent or youth decides they do not want to participate, the juvenile office will make a determination on how they will handle that youth. That youth could go through informal supervision where they meet with a deputy juvenile officer on a regular basis for a period of time with other consequences. They could determine that it should be more formal supervision or put it through the juvenile system in which they will face the delinquency judge. And I'll recognize Judge Spencer here tonight is our delinquency judge for Cass County. And so once the determination has been made that the youth and the parent and the juvenile office believes it's an appropriate case and they'll go through the program, that youth comes the night of youth court. And our youth that we train, they go through 4 3-hour nights of training, or I guess it's 2.5 hours, and practicums where they practice doing arraignment and do a little bit of trial work as well. They have to pass a bar exam. So our youth that go through the training are kids from all of our schools across Cass County. It also could be youth from homeschooling. So they train up, they have to pass the bar exam. And we have had almost every single year either a perfect or near perfect score on the bar exam. And I can promise you, no lawyer or judge here is even close to having a perfect bar exam score. But they train up. Once they pass the bar, they graduate, and then they become the judge, the lawyer, as far as the defense lawyer, the prosecuting attorney, and the bailiff, and the clerk the night of court. They are handed a file. They review the file, they work with the client if they're on the defense side, if they're on the prosecution side, they look at the facts and circumstances, and they determine what is an appropriate sentence if that youth were to plead guilty. If that youth pleads guilty, then recommendations are made to that youth judge for sentencing. And then that could be community service, that could be appropriate classes based upon the allegation. It's an assault, maybe it's a respect class, or bullying. It could be an apology to the victim or the parent in court. Community service hours as well. If they plead not guilty, the case is set over for a trial night, and a trial will be conducted, and the judge will determine guilt or innocence that evening. And then if there is a guilt determination, that judge will also make that determination as to sentencing. And the recommendations of prosecution and the defense attorney are also given and considered. So it is a true justice program based upon positive peer pressure and being judged by your peers versus being negatively judged by peers in social media that we see so frequently. But it's a wonderful program. And I did want to recognize, before I turn to Judge Howe, we have some board members here that I have yet to recognize. Judge Eftink is a board member. I believe he's the secretary of our program. Patricia Lear Johnson could not be here tonight. I believe she's at a city council meeting. She's a city councilman for Belton, but she's on our board. We have Bill Raymond, who is also on our board this evening. He is also a proud parent of multiple youth court members at this point, and he is a federal public defender, so he is a lawyer, so two skill set, parent and a lawyer. Also not here tonight is Cody Hagan, who is a lawyer and very supportive of our program. Now I'll turn, we have some data here that Judge Howe would like to share, and he is also instrumental to the program and was a big part of putting together the arraignment. Judge Howe?
Rise. Hear ye, the Cass County Youth Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Delaney is now presiding.
Please be seated.
No.
Docket number 102, the County of Cass versus Taylor Swift, juvenile defendant. Would the prosecuting attorney please identify yourself?
Good evening, Your Honor. My name is William Raymond, and I'm the prosecuting attorney for the County of Cass.
Would the defense attorney please introduce yourself and your client?
Good evening, Your Honor. My name is Blake Raymond, and my client, Taylor Swift, and her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Swift, also here with us in today.
You may sit. Juvenile defendant Taylor Swift, you are charged with the offense of assault in the 4th degree. The juvenile resides in Cass County, Missouri, and has been found within Cass County, Missouri, where the violation occurred in Cass County, Missouri, pursuant to Section 211-031-13 RSMO. The juvenile is alleged to have violated the state law or municipal ordinance and is in need of care and treatment for the following reasons. Count 1. On or about January 13, 2026, in the County of Cass, State of Missouri, the juvenile, by the juvenile's own conduct, for which the juvenile would be criminally responsible if they were an adult, committed what would be the Class A misdemeanor of assault in the 4th degree, in that the juvenile knowingly attempted to cause physical pain to another person, specifically the juvenile slapped BF. Date of birth 2/30/2014. Multiple times and shoved her in violation of the Section 565-056 RSMO, assault in the 4th degree, Class A misdemeanor. Do you understand the charges against you?
Yes.
Counsel, how does your client wish to plead?
My client wishes to plead not guilty, Your Honor.
And that concludes our arraignment portion of what the hearing would include.
I go to Ray Pec High School. I'm a 3-year member for youth court. I started my freshman year. I'm now a junior. And one thing I've learned from youth court is problem solving and communication. You have to help clients, talk to them. You learn their stories, and then you go to the prosecuting attorney. You decide what their classes should be. And it's really good with public speaking too. That's how I learned.
Hi, I'm Delaney Cooper. I'm a senior at Harrisonville High School. This is actually my first year and my first time doing any of it, so I don't have a lot to say, but I will say that I do intern under the judges, and the training process definitely helped a lot from what I watch in court and understanding what I'm learning and what they're trying to say to me. So, yeah.
Good evening. My name is Blake Raymond. I've been in youth court for 3 years, and I go to Ray Pec 9th Grade Center. Something I've gained from youth court is really communication skills and also getting to see your clients talk to you and see their side of the story. And I think that really helps with just making sure that everyone is heard, and especially younger people, make sure their voices are heard.
Hi, I'm Layla Royster. This is my first year of youth court. I go to Archie, and I've learned that this helps kids a lot, especially from personal experiences.
You're not Taylor Swift?
All right, do you have any questions for us? Yes, Renee.
Do they all intend to go into law? I do not. I plan to be a vet.
I think through youth court, I've really taken in the interest of becoming a defense attorney or a judge.
I do plan to either study law or forensic science and either come back to Cass County or to go be an FBI agent.
I'm not really sure what I want to do. I've thought about going to law. This is really a good program. I really like it. I also thought about engineering, and youth court has really helped me with the problem solving aspect and all that. So that seems really fun.
And we've produced quite a few lawyers out of the program. I was fortunate enough in COVID to swear in one of our prior youth court members. Because of COVID, he had to have me do it. And it was a great honor, but we've had quite a few police officers. We've had a highway patrol. We have a Belton police officer that's a resource for our program now, Alex Davis. And we've had some lawyers as well, so a lot of folks going into law. Another question?
Do you ever have a defendant that ends up winning their case and it's not guilty, or is it always somebody's guilty and you're determining what the sentence is?
That's a really great question, and I'll lean on some board members as well. With all the years that we have conducted the program, We have had some cases that come through youth court the night of the arraignment that you saw, and when the defendant and the parent, as well as our youth prosecutor, and then the adult members that assist, look at the situation, they determine maybe the police report doesn't have enough information, maybe there is appropriate defenses, and it could lead to a dismissal that night. We have had cases that have gone to trial, and I'm going to look at Judge Tink and the others. I think we've had at least one not guilty in all of the years. Judge?
Well, I'm not sure, I couldn't speak with how many we have. I know for sure the Honorable Judge Ray Pec presided over a case, and he found the defendant not guilty. So it happens where it goes to trial, and there's just not enough evidence to convict, so the judge will acquit.
And that defendant that was found out guilty does not go back through the juvenile office or anything else. That is the final determination. And Rafe Bell is now in law school at UKC, and he's in his last year at 3L, and he is interning and clerking for the prosecuting attorney's office right now in Cass County. Other questions? Yes.
Defense attorney, how much background research do you do for your client?
It really depends. You can spend however long you think you need. Sometimes it's 15, sometimes it's 45 minutes. But you just really, it's important that you talk to your client and that you get their side of the story, what they think, and make sure that you know as much as you possibly can before you ask the
Can you
question.
subpoena any witnesses?
No, I don't think so, unless it's a trial.
You come in and you write your name down on the sign-in sheet, and your email address. Then you get all your cases. You might have a judge case and a prosecuting case and a defense case all on the same night. You'll never know what you're going to get. It really just depends on what happens that night. If you have like 7 or 8 cases and there's like 10 people, then you're going to have a lot more cases and do a lot more different things than if there's like 3 cases and 10 people.
This brings up a good point. Can you do cases where the youth goes to your same school, or you might know that youth?
No, you can't, because you don't want to know them in school, spread their business, all that stuff.
So potential appearance of impropriety or bias or ethics, they just won't do that. Yes, Tom?
I attended the graduation that night. It was a very humbling thing to see these young people, what they accomplished, their accolades. Some of them, like you said, the bar, they were so magnificently educated, talented to pass the numbers of that bar. You guys never probably got close to at their age doing that bar. But they're right. If you were there that night, listening to all the athletes that they come down and got their awards, it's amazing how many young people are so well versed into it.
Absolutely agree. Ms. Barker is we'll look at this situation and we'll hear from the youth and the adults that are assisting what witnesses are recognized that need to be part of any trial, and then the juvenile office will reach out to those witnesses and ensure they will participate. And so law enforcement will generally always participate. If we have a alleged victim or individual witness that may not, then that may affect the case, and it will be looked at. Can that case still proceed with or without that witness? We certainly don't want to harm a juvenile that's been referred to our program by violating his due process rights and make him go to trial without a needed witness. And so that might be a case that's looked at, we'll discuss, and it needs to go back to the juvenile office versus a trial, because that witness won't participate or cooperate. But we've never had to use the true subpoena power, and we likely would not in that circumstance. If that's needed, it'll likely go in a different direction. And do you want to tell them real quick about mitigating circumstances as a defense attorney? So the night that they meet their client for the first time, what kind of questions and what do you look at?
A lot of questions we ask are, do you do any extracurricular activities, or what are your grades? Do you babysit at home for your younger siblings? And just really any questions that could help them. So just good things they've done and how they help out.
And from the prosecutor's side, when you're looking at the police report and you're viewing the information you possess, what do you look at as far as aggravating circumstances?
We look at usually who starts the fight, what happens during the fight, if there was if they escalated it, tried to de-escalate it, the facts of the case, all that stuff.
And you think that's not as favorable, prosecution's ready to point it out so the judge can make a determination based upon that, and defense is looking at Has the child already been disciplined at home or at school or in another environment, or positive things, so that the court can make an informed decision. I think another question?
I know organizations like ours and others help support the youth court, but do the parents have to pay like the court costs or fine to help support the youth court, just like if you were a regular court and have court costs and things like that?
They do not. If it was a situation where there may be restitution money owed to a victim, it likely would not come through youth court. That'd be something Ms. Barker would assess and determine, how are we going to make that victim whole? And if they can't be made whole through our system, they'd likely go in a different direction through the juvenile office. But we don't require the parents to pay anything. And if they did informal adjustment or formal supervision, they likely wouldn't be paying either. And we're also very lucky because Ms. Barker for the juvenile office has applied and received annually a grant from the Division of Youth Services. The Division of Youth Services is an agency within the state under the Department of Social Services that deals with our harshest kids that don't get certified as adults. And so they provide grants to programs like this to try to keep kids out of the formal juvenile system and out of the pipeline. And so we do get some funding from them for our training and some of our needs as well. Yes?